welcome back to another episode of the CarterCast. I'm your host, Carter Bond. On today's show, it's me, it's Dylan, it's Grant, and it's Connor, the four-man football pod, the usual. We recap the weekend, conference championship weekend. USC loses to Utah. K-State over TCU. USC-Utah, game of the decade for Dylan. Great call there. We got roasted on TikTok. Follow us on TikTok at CarterCast, by the way. And then we recap all the other conference championship games. The college football playoff is set. We finally know our four teams. Michigan versus TCU. Ohio State versus Georgia. Great matchups. We briefly go over the games and the lines and scenarios, but we'll get really into it in about 2 weeks, right before the games kick off. And then we also preview our bowl matchup set. I don't know how we're going to call it. Bowl bets, I guess. We do that in the podcast. So it's going to be confusing when you listen to it. I don't know if I did a great job explaining it, but make sure to check out cartercast.com. We'll put everything on there. It'll be super simple, super easy to read. Do it on your phone, do it on your iPad, computer, whatever. CarterCast.com. Make sure to check it out. And then also we preview all the NFL games like usual, go through every single one of them, spreads, totals, winners, losers, whatever you name it, we go through it. And it's a phenomenal podcast, one of our best ones yet. And then schedule for next week, we're going to have our Bowl Bets pod coming out next week. So the NFL part will be a lot shorter. We're not going to do a 3-hour podcast. We're going to make it a little bit shorter to breeze through some games, mainly talk about the games we really want to talk about. But we're going to do our Bowl Bets pod next week. But before that, we are going to come back with the basketball pod with hopefully Bo SC should be coming on. If not, we'll make sure to lock in a guest for that with Connor and I on the basketball pod next Tuesday as well. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe, like, rate, review. You guys know what you're doing. Thank you so much for listening. And I really hope you guys enjoy today's show. All right, we're back. Conference championship weekend in college football. We have Mr. Pac-12 with us. Mr. Pac-12, take it away.
I really don't know what to say. It was, I came on here, I gave all the stats. It was an easy pick and made a lot of money. I caused some havoc in the Pac-12 Reddit, a place I have no business being up until after this weekend because I'm Pac-12, Mr. Pac-12. But good game. It kind of stinks. Caleb Williams getting injured, that's no fun. It doesn't matter who you're rooting for because he's such a great talent. Still think he's a lock for the Heisman, but yeah, good weekend. Go Utah. We got to see Ohio State get into the playoffs because of it. Michigan's going to get to beat up on them twice this year.
No, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Come on now.
Look, that's the only time you're allowed to say go what you just said ever again on this podcast, Dylan, but I'll give it to you on that one because you deserve it. You earned it. You're Mr. Pac-12. You can say those words this time. Honestly, man, that was a good hit. Very, very good hit. You were on top of it the whole time. I was blinded by the flash.
Yeah, me too.
The celebrityness of Southern California. I was blinded by the light, as they say. No, it was a fun game though. Like it was just interesting, the clash between like the paying for players, the transfer portal guy, the transfer portal team compared to the team that built it from the ground up, right? Did it through player development, all the normal stuff, right? It was like an old school versus new school, and it was very interesting.
The right way, Grant. He did it the right way.
I'm not however you want to get it done today, but it was frustrating watch, obviously with me and Carter's bias, but good hit, very good hit.
I appreciate it.
Grant, I texted you. It was I can't remember. I think it was sometime late in the second quarter. It was when Utah got that big fourth down stop on their own 40 when USC had the ball. And I texted you. I said, "This is the time to bet Utah. This is when we get in. Utah money line plus 450 right now.
I said,
let's go in right now."
Not yet. That's literally what I said. You called it the perfect time too. I will admit I didn't have a pregame bet on that game, but I did take a live bet on USC, and I think I had them plus 9.5, and it still did not hit. So that was awful.
Okay. That's one thing I did want to talk about. Like, so I didn't go in pre-bet either. I was like, I like USC. I'm eventually going to try and get USC. I got Utah plus 10.5 and the money line. I'm like, okay, I like this. And then I wanted to get USC. Doing live hedging is impossible math. It takes Albert Einstein level genius to do live hedging. It's impossible.
Well, by the time you figure it out, it's too late.
Yep. Exactly. You just have to be just bam, bam. It's almost like luck, it feels like.
Yeah, just that game in general. I was so excited after the first quarter. I was like, Caleb Williams looks great. I was like, Utah defense got punched in the mouth. And then It was a slaughter. It was a slaughter. That hurt me. You know what? I'm okay though. I'll go down with USC. I thought, like Grant said, I thought it was written in the stars. Thought they were going to the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go down with them. It's fine. All you little trolls in the TikTok comments, it's cool. Like, go ahead. Like, I know you're waiting on it. It's fine. Like, congrats.
We deserved it. The thing is, we deserved it. We were saying USC. Dylan's out here going 5-star this, game of the decade that, 10-unit this. Dylan won, man. I feel like this happens like every 2 weeks. Us three, we're like, yeah, we really like the Chargers this week, and Dylan's like, nope, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. And then
I do real quick. We were talking about the TikTok. I got into it deep on the Reddit. I just want to shout out party_project_2857. There's one more here. I can't find him off the top of my head. The guy that said that I don't watch football, never watched football in my life, deleted the comments, so I don't have his username. But
that's a classic move right there.
Yeah, also most_dope_ on Reddit gave me some crap too. So you guys are the ones that keep the fire going. Now I'm just going to be issuing out more games of the decade.
All right. Anything else in this Pac-12 game? I mean, it was Caleb Williams got hurt. I don't know if that necessarily lost them the game. I think it would have been a close game. I don't think it would have been obviously a 23-point blowout, but I think it would have been within one score. I still think Utah wins. They just had the momentum. They were riding it, and they were able to control the ball, control possession, kill the run game, and USC just had no answer.
Now, a good segue to what might be our next topic. Caleb Williams is definitely still the Heisman, right?
He is, but before we get into that, we were so dead on about Kansas State.
Yep.
Oh.
That felt good. That money line felt good for Kansas State.
It was you had to clench your butt cheeks a little bit coming to the end there, going to OT, giving up a late touchdown. You're like, how can TCU keep getting away with this? How can they continually come back, 2-point conversions, late drives, winning an OT, last second field goals? It just felt like, oh wow, I'm gonna get screwed by TCU yet again. Finally won one against TCU, and they're still in the college football playoff, which is the right move.
I agree. I don't think they should have been taken out. And anybody who argues that Alabama should have been in, just please stop. Like, not this year. Like, TCU's a Power 5 team. They shouldn't be punished for playing in a conference championship that a lot of these teams that were being talked about didn't even make it to. They shouldn't be punished for that. I think they did the right thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought it was crazy. They kept him at 3. It's the right move, but I didn't think they'd have the brass to be able to do it. I didn't think they did it for mostly matchups because they didn't want to see Michigan, Ohio State again.
We'll get into that in a little bit once we do these recaps real quick. Purdue gets rolled by Michigan. The score lied a little bit, but Michigan had control in that game. I don't think it was 21 points, but I do think it was a double digit win, 100%. That last second touchdown was brutal for us Purdue backers.
Us Purdue? Who had Purdue here?
I had Purdue.
Oh my gosh! I know better, Carter.
It was 1 unit on Purdue and then 2 on the over.
Yeah, that over was nice.
Yeah, so we were like 0.9, but that's fine. Georgia rolls. That wasn't really a game. That was pretty miserable from the get-go. And then Clemson, 39-10 over Carolina. Do you have anything to say for yourself down there?
Yeah, I do. I just want to say I rode with Carolina and USC beginning of the year, won me a bunch of money, and they have completely sunk me at the end of the year. I mean, completely sunk me. Here's the thing. Carolina had a couple of chances to get the momentum back. That 98-yard pick six by Drake May to start the second half, that was the game right there. Like, they had a chance to get back in. I really thought they did. I took them on the live like plus, I don't even know what it was, like plus 15 or plus 17 maybe on the live. I was like, no way they get, stomped that badly. That pick six was the end of the game. Just mental mistakes. Couldn't score in the red zone. Like, that was just too many errors. Like, 10 points for a Carolina team that's been like one of the best offenses in football this year. And maybe they're a little bit fraudy because they didn't play any good defenses this year. I mean, I'm not afraid to say that. So
I don't think it's they. I think it's Drake May.
I doubt that.
You like that? That was nice.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true.
Drake May did not play well against one good defense.
He's a freshman. He's a freshman quarter. Come on.
I'm saying, though, he didn't play well against one, above average defense. He played very poorly in those games.
He did have some mental mistakes. He did have some freshman moments. But overall, if you look back at the season, Like
You take
in
that. You take that if you're a Carolina fan.
Well, in 5 years, I'm gonna be like, wow, that was a pretty good, Carolina football year. But then in the moment, I'm like, we had a chance to be what 9? We were 9-1, and we had a chance to like legitimately make the playoff if we beat Georgia Tech State and then perform well in the championship game. I mean, that part's kind of disappointing to lose probably going to lose the last 4 games because Oregon's going to stomp Carolina. So it's a little disappointing from that perspective, but I guess overall it's not that bad.
All right. Enough from this weekend. College football playoff is set. Number 1, Georgia playing Ohio State. Number 2, Michigan playing number 3, TCU. Let's start off with Michigan. Am I seeing 7.5? Is that the right line right now? I've seen it 7.5, 9.5, 8.5. You name it, I've seen it.
Yeah, it opened at 9. I don't know if it got to 9.5. I remember seeing 9s, and it's down to 7.5, which as a Michigan fan doesn't make me feel great. But I do think we have to start having conversations about this TCU team, and I think they're actually pretty legit. Their defense got stops when it needed to. Not a great defense by any means, but their offense is what keeps them going. And man, I would say I'm more worried about TCU's offense than I was about Ohio State's going into that game a couple weeks ago. So it'll be interesting. I don't know if we'll get into picks or not, if we want to save those for closer to the game, but there's a lot of stats. Like I was looking at, home away splits because this game's played in Arizona. So a little closer to TCU than it is to Michigan. And when TCU plays closer to home, they're a lot better team than when Michigan's away. So it'll be interesting.
How much does Michigan miss Blake Corum in this game? Because Donovan Edwards has looked pretty good.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. Every game Corum's been out, Edwards has stepped up. And I think that just goes to speak to the offensive line and how you can really plug and play any back that has any sort of speed or shiftiness. And they can work their way down the field. It's also worth noting, the Purdue-Michigan game was really close to the first half, just like every other Michigan game. But they wear teams down. That second half is huge for Michigan because they run the ball. It's a fight in the trenches on the line. So it'll be interesting. The problem is, hear me out here. Not going to say the problem. It's not a problem. I get married on December 31st, and Michigan and TCU play at 4. I know good and well that our ceremony starts at 5:30. I know good and well Michigan's going to go into the half down 3 points to TCU, and I'm going to be left wondering from 6 to whenever pictures are over, if Michigan did the thing that they've done all season. So I told Jake, and I said, "You're going to have to step up your duties as best man, and you're gonna have to be score updater too."
Mm-hmm.
Brutal.
That's brutal.
And
no, it's not brutal. No,
not brutal. It is a beautiful thing, and it'll be exciting. But I don't know. We'll see. I do want to say one thing real quick about the committee. I applaud them for not putting Alabama in because I think it wasn't the right thing to do, but they had a decent excuse to do it, and I know that they were probably drooling for Georgia, Alabama. They were probably drooling over that matchup. They did the right thing by putting Ohio State in.
And then, initial thoughts. I don't really know. I think I like TCU plus 7.5.
I wouldn't blame you.
I think Michigan wins the game, and I think TCU gets a nice little backdoor cover. I think Michigan's up 14 going into the fourth. There's a late 2-minute drive, garbage 2-minute drive. It's classic Daniel Jones, break your heart for the cover 2-minute drive, Grant, as we know. And it's going to be a pointless Johnson touchdown for TCU to get the cover.
Yeah. I kind of lean with you too. It's obviously like it doesn't really make sense to pick it right now as we have time to wait and kind of have time to see the shift and all those things. But I'm kind of leaning with you as of right now too, Carter. I think I lean TCU with the points, but it's hard to say. To be honest, man, those games have been blowouts. So it's not necessarily a given just because there's a lot of points that they're going to cover, right? Like a lot of these teams in the semis have been just absolutely blown out. So we'll see. I might change my mind here in a little bit.
Closer to the game, I'll come prepared with some more stats. I took a quick glance, but
yeah, we'll that week we'll make sure to we'll do it right before the wedding and everything. We'll make sure to get a podcast in to go deep into this college football playoff. And then real quick, Ohio State, Georgia. The big news coming from this game is Jackson Smith and Jigba is not playing. He's opting out due to a hamstring injury, whatever's going on. Kind of sketchy. This is weird.
Very weird. Very weird. I'll get this disclaimer out there. I've never been a legitimate college athlete. I mean, I played golf at a very small school. I don't want to speak for the guy, or if there's information that I don't know, I'm not going to act like I know it all. But with the information we know, there's no reason that he shouldn't be playing this. He's very clearly sitting out for the draft. Because a hamstring injury, it takes 6 weeks max to heal from. There's NFL college players healing from this injury within 4 to 6 weeks. By the time he injured himself October 22nd against Iowa, to the day that this college football playoff semifinal game is, we're looking at 11 weeks for him to get healthy. And the fact that he's not willing to play in this game, you know, I was telling you guys before this, if the Titans sniff this guy, like, I don't want this guy on my team. He does not care about the team. He cares about getting the money. And these are things that matter to coaches when you're drafting. So very bad optics for Jackson Smith and Jigba. I feel like I have conversations with myself all the time. I'm here alone in this house. I'll just be like, this guy's crazy. What is this guy doing? So I'll let one of you guys say more about it.
I mean, the thing about it is, if they didn't make the playoff, I think I would understand it a little bit more. But the thing is, they're actually playing for something, and he's going to the draft. Like, this is the only chance you're going to get to play for a national championship. Like, you would think you would do everything in your power to play. Like, you've been with these guys all year. You've been hurt the last few weeks. You want to come back and make an impact. I understand the health factor, and I will never fault somebody for like putting themselves first and not risking injury and getting the money, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. Like, you want to support your family and get all that money. But you're playing for a national championship. It's not like you got put in the, I don't know, the motor oil bowl or the Mayo Bowl or something. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, I understand it, but I don't really like the move.
Yeah, it's hard to say, boys. Like, it's what Dylan says, what you said, Connor. We don't know all the facts 100%. And like any of those, like, you know, hamstrings, things like that, it's kind of a nagging issue, right? It can kind of get weird. So it's hard to say. It does feel weird, though. It feels like he definitely should be playing this game, especially, like you said, if he's in the national title. We'll see. Like I said, if that affects teams the way they view him as a draft prospect, that's honestly what it comes down to at this point, because he's done. His college career is done. So maybe he feels like Garrett Wilson and Olave have already done enough for, you know, in the NFL to prove the fact that Ohio State just churns and burns like first rounders. So he's like, I'm good.
They do, man.
So talking about the spread, real quick initial thoughts. Georgia's -6.5, over under 61.5. I don't know, man. This is a weird one. I have no confidence in these picks right now. I mean, we're a month out, so it's impossible to really feel what to take in these games. But I mean, I know everyone's probably going to be taking Ohio State, right?
I lean Georgia. I think they have been hands down the best team in college football this year.
Because I lean Georgia too, but I just don't want to be. I don't know, man. I'm talking myself.
I like love that Georgia play, bro. To be honest.
What about Georgia to just win the national title at -130?
No. Absolutely.
Dylan. They might boat race post these games.
They really. Oh my gosh, you guys are killing me. They won't.
Let's talk reality right now.
No.
Let's say Michigan chokes against TCU.
Okay.
TCU, Georgia.
That
spread
like a 20-point spread.
At least 15, 16 points.
I was seeing. So let me get stats guy on something real quick. I hear what you're saying. TCU is not that good of a team, but I don't want to give up too much. I could possibly have a 5-unit play on this game, a 5-star play. Ohio State is if you're a Georgia hater, Ohio State is the one team you want to see playing Georgia, because I think they have the best chance of beating Georgia. And we'll get into it later, but Georgia's pass defense, if they have one weakness, it's that. And if Ohio State has one strength, it's that they can pass the ball.
Fair.
If it gets to 7, that's a dangerous number if you like Ohio State. And I think it'll get there, but I think the public's going to be all over Georgia.
Mine's 115 right now. Mine's 6.5.
I think it'll get to 7 by the time we kick off in 3 weeks or so. I'm getting the stats guy on a potential TCU Georgia line though, because I know it's out at Caesars real quick.
Guys, I personally think Georgia's going to clean house with Ohio State. That's just me. I mean, I could be wrong there. Like you said, Dylan, you like that matchup. It is all about matchups at the end of the day between team versus team. But I don't know, man. Georgia's a juggernaut right now, man. They're good. Very, very good.
it'll be interesting to see. Like, I know the over under right now is 61.5. And I'll be curious to see like what the exact team totals are. I wouldn't hate a little Ohio State like first half team total under. A little spicy. Georgia comes out swinging. I don't know. A little spicy there.
That's the thing. Georgia comes out for these big games.
I know, exactly. But then they play Missouri and poop their pants.
They're going to be prepared.
I can't find it right now, guys. I'm sorry. If I find it in the podcast, I'll say something.
All right. Well, I think speaking of Ohio State, C.J. Stroud, Max Duggan, Stetson Bennett, and the Heisman obvious Caleb Williams. There were some Heisman snubs. Why is Stetson Bennett? It's going to New York.
I think it was a disservice to him, honestly. He hasn't been in the conversation all year, and there's nothing wrong with Stetson Bennett. You know, he's the quarterback of the best team in the country, but he's not a Heisman. He doesn't play like a Heisman. So I think that's a little disrespectful just to like put him in there just because Georgia's 13-0, the number 1 seed in the playoff. I don't really get that. I don't think he has any type of chance to win that.
He's the milkman, though, guys. Come on.
He's the what?
They call him the milkman.
Why? The milkman?
Yeah, bro. He's the milkman. He's like the random kid. You know what I'm saying? The one where they think that he comes from the milkman, right? The illegitimate kid.
Oh, okay. I'm following now. I'm following now. Okay.
Yeah. He's the milkman, dude.
Oh man, if you ask my honest opinion, and I know I was pretty high on like Hendon Hooker this season. I'm a Michigan fan, Blake Corum. It really stinks that these guys got snubbed just because of the injuries. And you can say what you want about Hooker's performance against South Carolina. You just got to look at his whole year's worth of work. And his stats were, you put Hendon Hooker on Georgia, think about that team. You put Stetson Bennett on Tennessee. I mean, think about that.
They're fighting for a bowl game.
Yeah, they might be 6-6. So
yeah,
it's also kind of disrespectful to Stetson, I think, because he knows he has no chance of winning this. Like, even though he's invited, all of the odds had him at the lowest. His stats just aren't close to the other 3 guys, and he's got to go to New York. Like, he should be preparing for the championship right now, or at least the playoffs. Stroud, on the other hand, has a legitimate chance of winning. I say legitimate. He's the second favorite. So that makes a little more sense. But I kind of feel bad for Bennett because he has no business being there.
Yeah,
I don't feel bad. He's fine. He's
Also,
he's probably about to win He's about to go back-to-back national championships.
FanDuel has the field at +110. Georgia versus the field. Hammer the field. Georgia's not winning it. Georgia would be a 17.5 point favorite against TCU.
Okay, hold up. 17.5?
I said 17 or 18.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That's at Caesars.
17.5, bro. Sheesh.
Wow.
I can't hammer the field, Dylan. I'm sorry. Georgia's looked too good this year.
Let me ask you this, Dylan. What are the odds straight up that Ohio State beats Georgia in your opinion?
Straight up, it's tough. I would say I would give them 27.
27% chance of just winning.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think Michigan probably closer to about 18. TCU, I'd give them like 7. Ohio State is probably the team that matches up best against Georgia, just because the explosiveness. And I understand there was one game where we didn't see that, but Georgia, I think, is giving up just over 200 pass yards a game, which is great. It's amazing, but it's what they're the worst at. And Ohio State, they can pass the ball.
You're gonna be hammering some Marvin Harrison props.
Oh, I don't know. It really pains me to bet on Ohio State because actually this time it doesn't, because I would love to see Michigan Ohio State national championship.
This is the perfect emotional hedge spot for you.
Mm-hmm.
You throw a couple units on Ohio State +6.5. There's a chance where Georgia only wins by 3 unconvincingly, and you still cash your bet.
That's true. There's a lot that goes into this. And I told Abby and all of her family, I was like, if Michigan Ohio State play in a national championship, at that point we'll be back from the honeymoon. That is a solitary watch for me. I don't want to go to any watch parties. I don't want people around me other than Abby. I have to be at home watching that game.
Even Abby though?
Abby can be around. She will be my wife. I'll watch it with her. But I told solitary watch.
Dylan, Dylan, you go and ask Carter how it is to play your rival in the national championship / Final Four, and ask him how that went. So, it's a big emotional spot.
That's what I wanted to bring up before we get into this. The reason I feel like it wasn't Ohio State, Michigan in the 2-3 is the NCAA. I know the NCAA doesn't technically have anything to do with college football playoff and all that, but they saw how well Duke Carolina did in the Final Four, TV ratings, how much hype it brought to the sport. They know if it's Michigan, Ohio State in the national championship, arguably the most watched national championship of all time, probably will be. That's why it kind of feels like I don't hate Michigan, Ohio State in the national championship game.
I don't. Do you think that game would be more viewed than Georgia, Alabama last year?
Guys, out of all the plays, Dylan is so spot on. He's literally like bullseye. When it comes to Georgia, bro, not even on the map, bro.
Oh no!
Kind of gauging their ability in the playoff, bro. This is not a spot you want to be taking against the Dogs. I just don't like. You guys are talking about Michigan, Ohio State, bro. I don't really see a possibility where Ohio State gets
But Grant, it's written in the stars.
No, this one is not written in the stars at all. That was Southern California, man. That was USC. They burned me. But I'm telling you, there's only one spot where Dylan is a little bit off on his little radar. It's against Georgia.
I have been notoriously wrong. I was listening to the first episode of the year yesterday. I've notoriously been wrong on Georgia.
All right, enough about the college football playoff Heisman stuff. We'll get into that come that week. Actually, we'll just get into it that week. But we need to talk about something. We said we're going to do a bowl competition thing, all four of us. So the way it's going to work is, it might be hard to follow. I'll write a blog explaining it, how it's going to work and everything too. So we're going to pick 5 games that are not the college football playoff. It can be the other BCS bowls or whatever they're called now, the New Year's Day bowls, whatever. It can be those as well, but it cannot be a college football playoff game. You're going to put 5 units on one game, 4 units on one game, 3 units on one game, 2 units on one game, 1 unit on one game. So you're going to have 5 plays, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 units on one play each game. So, for example, if I'm like, I love UCF money line against Duke, I want 5 units on that game alone. But then I'm not as confident on, like, let's say NC State spread against Maryland in the Duke's Mayo. That's 1 unit. So we're all going to put it in. I'll put it all in a blog, organize it for everyone and see. We're going to do it on next week's podcast, next Wednesday when we post it. Everyone good with that?
All right, it's time to get in the lab. It's time to get in the lab.
I like it.
So
I got to redeem myself.
There's a way to do this because you got to think, do you want to choose a bowl that's sooner, opt-outs, or because when we do this podcast, we're going to have to play some during or after the podcast because that's the only way I think it works, right?
So I couldn't text you after this and say, I want this for the Rose Bowl.
I feel like we have to do it if we say it on the podcast, we have to do it then and live with the opt-outs. So is it more beneficial to choose that first Saturday with the bowl games like the New Mexico Bowl and the Ballsack State Bowl and all that?
It might be, honestly. Or, I mean, you have to account for the opt-outs. I mean, you have to just try to account for it, which is difficult, but
I like it. We all bring them that one day at the podcast. We read them off. Yep, and I like that.
So
like
you got to remember, you got to be prepared. You may be putting 5 units on the Music City Bowl.
I love it.
We'll see.
We'll miss this, boys. About 4 months, we'll miss this.
Oh, 100% we're going to miss this. That's so true.
No. 4 months? That's March Madness.
I don't care about college basketball.
Oh yeah. Quick note on that. I'm sunk in basketball this year. If anybody, don't listen to me at all.
But Connor, it's okay. Carolina's really good. They were preseason number 1. Their redemption tour. They're coming back. They're going to be great this year.
Let me tell you. Women's soccer lost the national championship. Football is on a 3-game losing streak. Basketball, it's unranked now. I would take it all for that Caleb Love shot or Mark Williams. I'd trade it all in. Every day of the week. Every day of the week.
You just said women's soccer. No. We are going to be authentic on this podcast. Let's not pretend you give one crap about women's soccer.
Hey, when I was there, I worked a lot
No,
of women's soccer
don't
games.
even give me that. Don't even
National
give me that. I don't
title,
wanna hear
UNC,
anything.
national champion university, baby.
National champion.
University of the national champions.
When did you win
Oh
a
my
championship?
gosh.
You lost in 2 championships. You lost against Kansas, and you lost to UCLA in women's soccer.
Check the numbers. Women's soccer's won like 30 national championships in the last 40 years.
Don't
Get the
act
stats
like
guy
you
on
like
it.
women's soccer. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, get the,
All
get the
right.
producer on it.
That's the bowl bets. That's what we're gonna do. BYU, SMU over early little sneak peek. 72.5 isn't high enough.
It's not, I need more.
Grant, don't okay. Whatever. We'll get into it next week. You guys ready for the NFL?
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do the NFL right now. Let's start off Thursday night football. The sneaky potential playoff team, the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Rams. Vegas is -6, over under is 44.5. The Rams are playing their G League team. They're playing the Agua Caliente Clippers as their whatever football equivalent that is. XFL, the AAF that doesn't even exist anymore. They're playing absolutely nobody. The fake Cooper Cup. They're playing, and Cam Akers might not even be bad. He actually played well against the Seahawks.
Yep.
But anyhow, Vegas -6, over under is 44.5. I like this Vegas team a lot. Like, I know it's a sucker pick going with Vegas. Taking 6 is a lot of points in any NFL game. Vegas has shown they're so hit or miss, so hot and cold. They hit last week. Biggest play of the week for me. Shout out the Raiders. I just want to take the 6 or just take it in a money line parlay with someone.
Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, I like the Raiders here too. Their offense really, when they get going, they're one of the best in the league. And the Rams are just kind of done. I mean, maybe we'll see Baker, but even if that happens, the line stayed at 6 all day since that news came out where the Rams picked him up. So, and even at that time, there were reports that he might play. I will say, Raiders being a playoff team, it's possible they sneak in. Probably won't do much because their defense just is not that good. But I do like the Raiders here just because the Rams are kind of thrown in the towel. And when they get Devontae Adams going offensively, they're a pretty good team.
I was gonna say Josh Jacobs has looked good. I mean, I'm not in love with this Raiders team this year. Obviously, they've lost me money a couple of times, but like we talked about it in the last couple of days, the Rams really have nothing to play for. Stafford's out for the year. Aaron Donald's been out of the lineup. Like, they have really nothing to play for. And even if we do see Baker Mayfield suit up for the Rams, he just got signed today. It's Wednesday. The next day, you don't have time to learn an offensive scheme, get to know the play. Like, he's not going to do well, even if we see him tomorrow. I'll tell you one play I don't hate. Cam Akers' rush yards is only 44.5. I don't hate that.
Yeah. I just looked at the first half lines, boys, and you can take the Raiders -3.5. I kind of love that. And -105 odds too. So you're not even getting your traditional -110. You're getting -105. So a little bit of a love there. So I kind of like that one a lot. I'm with you, boys, which again is not always great when we're on the same side of all 4 of us, but I just don't know how you can possibly take the Rams in this situation. Like, even if it is with points, it's just hard.
I did want to say this, though. This sucks for Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. Like, this is the Thursday night football curse. You can preseason put as many good games on as you want. You're going to say, oh, this is going to be a great matchup. Broncos, Raiders, this is awesome. Rams, Raiders. The Raiders have Devontae Adams coming in. This Thursday night curse is real, man. It's going to be poopy football no matter what. So we should, next year, before we start, making our futures and everything, we need to look who is the number 1 team on Thursday night. This year, I think it had to have been the Broncos. I feel like the Broncos were on every single Thursday night. We just need to look ahead and like, oh, okay, they're on Thursday night 4 times. Win total under.
Yep.
I think that's a pretty good method. I hadn't really thought about that. I like that.
And it makes no sense. It has no statistical backing, but hey,
That's
anything
why I
else in
don't
this
hit.
game? It just seems kind of chalk. You kind of have to go the Raiders. I know it's going to be super public. I think the public still wins in this one, though.
Yeah.
Public doesn't always lose.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
All right. This is the line of the week. And no pun intended, because it's the Vikings versus the Lions. Lions at home, -2.5, over under 53. The Lions, the 5-7 Lions, are favored by 2.5 points against the 10-2 Minnesota Vikings. Vegas is literally telling you right here the Lions are winning this game.
Listen, I learned my lesson on this Vikings team when they played the Cowboys, and I was like, man, I love the Vikings this week. Like, there's no way this line should be what it is. I think I have to take the Lions just for that sole purpose.
This line's literally flipped. I mean, before the game Sunday, the Vikings were 2.5 point favorites, and there's been a big flip here. I have the Lions as a 1.5 point favorite, so I'm not sure if there's much value on them anymore now. I would take the Vikings if they got to 3. I love the over here, actually. Both teams offensively very well disciplined. I think they're both in the bottom 10 in offensive penalty yards, which you guys know that's a huge stat for me. And defensively, not so much. I think they're both in the top 10 in defensive penalty yards that they give up. Yep. But both offenses are good. The Lions actually edge out the Vikings in just about every offensive stat, every meaningful one. And it's kind of the flip on the defensive side. Both defenses are very bad, but the Vikings edge out the Lions just barely in some spots. Now, Carter, did you have something?
I had a point, but keep going.
The last thing I wanted to say, the Lions do blitz a lot. I think they're like 7th in the amount of times they blitz. I think I have the percentage here. It's like over 40% of defensive snaps. No, 31.6%. But a very good QB hurry rate. Kirk can't do anything when he's under pressure. Hutchinson's a great pass rusher. All that to say, I don't know if I'd take a side. I would take the over.
First off, love the over. You kind of convinced me. You kind of toned me down on the lines. I'm still going to take the lines, but I really do like this over 53 points. Yeah, it looks like a lot, but both these teams give up a lot and can score a lot. It can score a lot. I mean, the Vikings made Mac Jones look like a legitimate quarterback. But anyhow, talking about the Vikings real quick, I have an analogy real quick. The Vikings are literally TCU in the NFL. It makes no sense how they keep winning. Both purple teams. I know that has nothing to do with it, but both purple teams. Kirk Cousins, Max Duggan, kind of similar a little bit, but also you look at their record. If you've watched all their games this year, like I have, you have no idea how they're actually 10-2. They're barely pulling these games out of their butts, but nobody's actually taking them serious. Nobody's actually taking TCU serious. I think it's pretty fair.
That's a pretty good comparison, Carter. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but I remember the Cowboys game when Vikings and Cowboys. It was a high scoring game, right? Didn't the Cowboys put up a ton?
The Cowboys
the
put
Vikings
up like
got
50.
Vikings put up what, 3?
The over would have hit though, right?
I don't think
the Vikings only had 3.
Stats department on it, but keep talking.
Oh, but I'm saying this situation with 51, that would hit though, even if it was 53. But yeah, I'm kind of with you, man. Like I like the over. I think
it did not hit. It was 40-3. The total was at 48.5.
Okay. Well,
but the Lions don't have a lockdown defense like the Cowboys do. So the Vikings are going to put up at least 20 points in this game, I feel like.
And I know it was the Jags, but the Lions kind of hit their stride last week. Their offense has not looked bad the last couple of weeks. And they have something to play for. Like there is a scenario they sneak into the playoffs. It's not likely. It's out there.
It's there, right? The opportunity.
There's a chance. There's a chance.
I don't know how you can bet on the Vikings with this line. It's just weird, bro. Like it's for sure. It's just weird, man. So yeah, I think if it's over or nothing in this situation for me.
Let's go down the line real quick. Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins? Who you want on your team? I'm going to go Kirk Cousins. Connor.
Kirk Cousins.
Grant.
I'll go Kirk Cousins.
Carter.
I have to go Kirk Cousins. I was big on this Vikings team before the year started. I have every ticket on them. They were my one ticket. I already cashed my NFC North ticket. The over 9.5 wins already cashed. And I have them in the Super Bowl, which not too concerned about that. Or not really banking on that one.
NFC North ticket, because I have that one too. That one's pending a win this week. If they win this week, then they cash it officially.
Nice.
They're gonna win it.
Only future I'm looking for.
Not that maybe
Vikings
not
money line.
Maybe not this week.
Oh, okay.
Only future I'm looking for is Panthers over 6.5 wins. So let's keep the positive vibes going.
Let's go through these games. Let's speed through this a little bit. This is another game I really wanted to talk about. Cleveland at Cincinnati. Cincinnati -6, over unders 47. The Browns coming off the weirdest win of all time, not scoring an offensive touchdown and still winning by double digits. Cincinnati convincing, huge season defining win against the Kansas City Chiefs. The line 6, it opened, I think, at 3.5, 4.
I don't remember.
I know it
right.
was at 4.5. I know that for a
sounds
fact.
right. Yeah.
And then I think it opened at 4.
It's hard not to trust the Bengals here because they've looked so good, beating the Chiefs. Like, they really seems like they figured it out. Jamar Chase is back. Joe Mixon is probably going to come back this week. But I don't know. Like, this feels like a classic game where it could be within a field goal.
Mhm.
Like, maybe Deshaun Watson, he's got a game under his belt. Maybe he comes back and has a vintage performance. Maybe Nick Chubb goes bananas after his lackluster week against the Texans. I'm kind of stumped here. I'm not going to lie. I might lean the under, honestly. 47.5. Like, kind of feels like maybe it could be a gross one.
Browns +6.
Ooh, take the Browns +6.
I'm taking the Browns +6. It's dirty. It's gross. I hate the pick, but I love the pick at the same time because letdown spot, big win for the Bengals. They're riding high right now. Time to fade the Bengals real quick. And the Bengals can still win this game.
Riddle me this, Carter. If you're taking Browns +6, doesn't that kind of intertwine with the under? You get some Nick Chubb, long drives down the field.
Ooh.
Like if the Browns keep it within a touchdown, I feel like it has to go under, right? I don't think it'll be a shootout.
The thing is, though, this Browns defense is not good.
Yeah. But Myles Garrett can get to Joe Burrow. That's the thing. Like, that's the Bengals O-line is like,
Because that's the other thing we need to mention here is whenever you're watching NFL Red Zone on a Sunday, is there's that one game they just keep going to. Here's another touchdown. It's another touchdown. It's another touchdown. It typically involves the Lions or the Bears or the Dolphins.
Yeah, I was going to say Dolphins.
It feels like it's going to be Minnesota, Detroit this week, but I could also see it being Cleveland, Cincinnati. They're Jamar Chase touchdown. Oh, Nick Chubb runs 80 yards in. Oh, back to T. Higgins. He gets a touchdown. Hayden Hurst with a touchdown. I feel like I'm not going over here, but I'm too scared off by the under because the offensive firepower is there. I don't think Watson comes out nearly as bad as that Texans game. Look, I'm not saying whether he deserved it, whatever. I'm not getting into that, but that's a bad spot for him to come back in at Houston. All the people are there. It's a weird spot. I think
completely
it's
intentional.
More calm this week. It's not going to be as crazy. And also, the Browns kind of own the Bengals a little bit. The Browns have the Bengals number.
Yeah, you have a point there. I lean the Bengals. I think I'm a little late to the game. You're right. It did open at 3.5. I had it on my projections here, and I hadn't updated it yet. But I like the Bengals. I think I'm too late. I am on the under here, and I'm going to apologize in advance. I came ill prepared. I don't have any stats on hand, but I do have a little note here. It says lean Bengals -6 and under 48. So I'm a little late to the party there too. But I promise you, I'll have blogs out for some of these games that will have the stats.
Nice.
There we go. I love it. Grant, what do you got?
I can't take a side with the 6. I might have to parlay both the first halves of these games, the Bengals first half and the Raiders first half, and just see what that looks like. That might be one of my plays this week.
I'm done with no more first half plays for me. I'm done.
Yeah, they were good to us for a while. I think we overstayed our welcome. We overstayed our welcome.
I'm back. I'm double dipping, boys.
All right, let's move on. Philadelphia at the New York Giants. Philly -7, over under 45.5. I don't really have anything to say much on this one. I feel like 7's quite a bit in a divisional matchup on the road. So I kind of maybe lean the Giants, but I really don't want to bet this Giants team who kind of seems like they're free falling a little bit.
Eagles have burned me too many weeks. I think I'm going to stay away from this right now. Like, every time I take the Eagles in the first half play, they always come out slow. So I'm probably going to stay away. Maybe this is when I'm looking to live bet if it's close for a while and I'm like, let me take the Eagles money line at pretty close to even odds. But as of right now, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, this is a stay away game for me, man. Like, I can't take either side, but we kind of talked about this Giants team. I mean, everyone kind of has, but we kind of knew like their defense blitzing as much as they were. It was kind of a matter of time before that kind of hit through free fall and then a bunch of injuries. Like, it was just kind of like that false gold, right? To like look at it. And we kind of knew it, and we're seeing the reaction of that for sure.
Yeah, I'm always going to lean the underdog in these divisional matchups. 7 is all right. I probably won't play it. I do like the under, and again, I don't have the stats on hand. I have it written down here, under 46. So again, a little late to the party there, but you know, I'm always going to like the underdog in the divisional matchups.
Thank goodness we didn't have the over in the Commanders Giants game at 40.5.
That was huge. I had the under. That was huge. Oh my god.
That was the first thing I said on the show last week, because I was like, man, 40.5 slow. Like, I feel like it could get over. And then started out, I was like, wow, I should have bet that. Thank the Lord I didn't take that. Oh my gosh. I would have been disgusted.
Last thing I just want to say on the Giants, Thibodeau is disgusting.
Good player. Great
Very
rusher.
good.
All right. I think we know what time it is. It's the New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills. Bills minus 9.5, over under 44. Jets coming off kind of a heartbreaking loss against the Vikings. Another one where, how did the Vikings pull that out when the Jets are in the red zone for 5 million times and still cannot score a touchdown?
Berrios dropped that touchdown.
Every single week we'll get into the Mike White, Zach Wilson thing because you kind of have to at this point. Buffalo coming off a lot of rest, destroying the Pats at home. There's a reason it's 9.5, but Grant, just come on, take us away.
I'll give you all a condensed Jets minute here. I mean, they went 1 for 6 in the red zone with one touchdown in the red zone. Obviously not 1 for 6 in the red zone, but 1 touchdown out of 6 opportunities in the red zone. Horrendous. So they were able to move the ball, and we kind of knew that coming in. Again, with that Vikings defense, it's not good. But it's so frustrating to see the ineptitude of the red zone offense. And I think it's been with Zach or Mike White, it's been either or. Like, it hasn't been great either way. So that's pretty frustrating to see that. With this Bills, though, defense, this is a completely different animal than the Bears defense and the Vikings defense for Mike White. So that's what freaks me out, right? I don't know what he's going to, his last time he played him was 4 interception game. Obviously, I don't think or predict a 4 interception game, but it does freak me out when you're talking about Bills at home late in the year, right? And you're talking about a quarterback that has not performed well against them. A lot of quarterbacks don't perform well against the defense when it's healthy. So that's what freaks me out about this for sure. I lean the Jets 9.5. I don't think I'll end up taking it yet. But I do lean the Jets 9.5. I think Mike White does have a good enough command of the offense to be able to move the ball enough. And again, I love the Jets defense. I think they're legit. They were able to make Josh Allen make terrible decisions last time they played. I don't think he's going to throw 2 picks like he did against us last time, but I think I think they could cover that spread. I don't love the play, but I lean it for sure.
I'm kind of with you, man. The Jets' defensive performance last week is not an indictment on who they are, because the Vikings, we can say what we want. They might not be a great team, but their offense is pretty good. The line looks about right at 9.5 from what I have. I'm already on the Jets. I got them at 10. I would not get them at 9.5. I got them at 10. But you know, that defense is still legit. The offense has to figure some things out, and I think they're in the process of doing that. But you're going to give me an away divisional dog of, at that time, double digits with a good defense. Defense is always going to be the great equalizer for underdogs. Mm-hmm. So if you can get 10, I wouldn't buy to 10, but if it gets to 10, which I think it might, I think that's worth a play.
It just depends on how Mike White plays, because if he throws picks and if that snowballs, then you're gonna have a very lopsided score. Just depends on how many turnovers he has, really.
What about a teaser? Little 10-point. I'm doing a 10-point teaser this week.
Did you do one last week?
I did not do a 10-point teaser last week. I did not. We're gonna build a little 10-point teaser, and I'm gonna put together my own anytime touchdown parlay that I will release here on the podcast at the end.
Oh, full disclaimer on that play, by the way. Garrett Wilson had over 150 yards receiving, and he did not have a touchdown. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Well, and full disclaimer on that play as well. Josh Jacobs hit.
I took Jalen Waddle. He was hurt the whole game. He played maybe half the snaps. Tua looked like dog crap. So
166 receiving yards. He didn't have one touchdown. That's ridiculous, bro.
And he tried. He targeted him in the red zone a lot. I was watching that game.
I know.
Oh, but look, I think if it does get to 10, I'm going to take the Jets plus 10. But if this gets up to 10 and I can get the Jets plus 20, with how good that defense is, I don't see this being a 20-point game.
There's not enough points that's going to be scored for it to be a 20-point game. I don't think.
I think this Jets defense is good enough to keep within 20. Call me crazy.
Now, I will say Josh Allen's going to be pissed, bro, because they lost last time. So there's a revenge factor for sure.
That's true. We'll build the 10-point teaser at the end as well. Moving on, this game is awful. This game, I hope it never comes up on Red Zone. It's Baltimore at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh minus 2.5, over under 37. I don't care about this game. Stay away.
You don't want to take a little spicy over here, Carter? Just a little Tyler Huntley?
What about a Mark Andrews touchdown?
I swear on everything I love, I will be taking that every week until the end of the year.
I have to do it myself.
We're obligated to. We have to. We cannot not be on it when it hits.
It's gonna be amazing when it hits.
Oh my God!
Maybe with Lamar out, we have a chance to actually hit this time.
Yeah, Huntley was giving the ball a little bit. I was watching a little bit of that game.
This one's you're kind of right. It's gross. I always tend to think that the markets overreact to injury news, but this is a unique case because Huntley has stepped into this spot before. He has had the starting quarterback get injured, and he comes into this spot and he does whatever he does. I don't know off the top of my head if it's necessarily been good or not, but it looks like it dropped 1.5. I had it at 4 before this. I would always lean the team that has the injury. The public overreacts. It seems like the books kind of overreact and end up undervaluing the team with the backup coming in. And in this case, the backup's been there before.
I was going to say
lean the Ravens.
And he led them against that Broncos defense on a game-winning drive. Say what you want to say. Like, the Broncos defense is no joke, and he led them at the end. So, like you say, he's been here before. I might sprinkle a unit on the Ravens money line. Mm-hmm. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
And for the reference for Mr. Pac-12, Tyler Huntley's a U. So I
do that because I'm Mr. Pac-12. You have to say that.
You're betting on one of the greats. He was very, very good in college, and like you said, he's played very, very well in his times. Like, he's like the Kirkland brand version of Lamar Jackson. Right? He's the same person, but like the crappier version, right? So like fair. I do lean the same thing with. I always take the injury side because what Dylan just said, the market overreacts, people react, and to be honest, like, you're giving me points against the Steelers, like, even if it is with a backup, I kind of like that play, dude. So I will be playing the Ravens. I'll probably just play a money line at this point.
Carter. Oh, sorry. I was going to say real quick, spiced anytime touchdown parlay. Did you see George Pickens complaining about his targets? Maybe a little George Pickens anytime touchdown. I don't know.
You guys have fully talked me into the Ravens.
And I want to give a reference. If people are listening and they're just saying, "Oh, these guys are just talking about the injury market overreacting." Last week we saw it. The line moved 4 points when Aaron Donald. I always say his name wrong. When Aaron Donald announced that he was not going couldn't play because of the injury. 7.5 points. They covered it easy. 4 points. No defensive player in the world is worth 4 points.
No.
So there's some value to that with the injuries. People overreact to that.
Agreed.
I love it. All right. Well, let's talk about your team real quick. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee minus 3.5. Over under 41.5. The Jags are the drug I just can't quit because. I'm going to take the Jags here. Like, I don't want to take the Jags, but I'm going to take the Jags.
I got to give myself kudos, Carter. We don't go against each other too much on this podcast, but I was on the Lions last week. They came through for me. My boy, Jared Goff.
Yeah, I got destroyed. What can I say? I got diddled on that one every which way. The Jags
hoodwinked. You got hoodwinked on that.
Won back-to-back games in 45 games.
That's rough. I don't know what to take on this one. I'm probably just going to follow whatever Dylan says.
I don't really believe in this Tennessee game. I don't know what's going on in Tennessee right now. They just fired their GM. I don't know if you want to get into that, Dylan, but I hate this division. Brian was right at the beginning of the year. The AFC South is the worst division. Like, I always said it was the NFC East. I hate NFC East games. I still hate NFC East games, even though their records are all good. But I feel like 3 out of those teams have fake records. Call me crazy. But this AFC South is awful. The Colts. Tell me you like watching a Colts game. Tell me you don't have a stroke watching Matt Ryan try and throw the football 10 yards. The Texans are tanking. They're awful. The Texans are whatever. It's just that team. They're the punching bag, whatever. The Jags, they trick me every freaking week. The Titans, everybody was on the Titans sneaky last week. They're like, oh, this is the time to take the Titans. And then reverse psychology, the Eagles win 35-10.
Yep.
I think I don't want to get too lost in the weeds here, but it's tough to say that the AFC South is the worst division when your team's playing in the NFC South. I mean,
Okay,
come
well,
on
hold
now.
up.
Your division leader's 6-6.
You're 7-5.
Which one's better win percentage?
Okay, let's look at the other teams. 1-8-1 or one. I can't even do the math. It's like 1-10-1 with the Texans. The Colts are like 3-8-1. You guys have too many ties, and then it makes it look better, but also worse at the same time.
I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm just saying it's hard to come at the AFC South when your division leader is 6-6 and barely squeaks out a win against
NFC
what were the
and
Saints?
AFC
3
South
and
are
whatever?
undoubtedly the worst divisions in football.
What was that?
The NFC and AFC Souths, are the worst divisions in football.
There we go. That's a truce right there. I'm
Yeah,
reaching
there
through
we
the
go.
screen. I'm giving you that. No,
Yeah.
about the GM. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. Vrabel got him fired. That had to be it. After that AJ Brown revenge game, Vrabel didn't want that guy gone, and rightfully so. He probably would have asked for a lot of money that it would have hurt to give up, but Vrabel wanted him gone, and now either Vrabel's going to be in charge of personnel or Vrabel's going to have a large say in who's going to come in as the GM. And both of those are great because it means Vrabel's sticking around. And if I want a guy leading my team, it's him.
I was going to say, yep, he's been nails this year.
Yeah, and he had for the last 4 years. I mean, the guy's been amazing. I couldn't ask for more from a professional football coach. But with that being said, I do kind of like the Jags here. The Titans have fell back a little bit. I have a unit on the Jags plus 3.5. Do we know anything about Trevor Lawrence to this point?
He came back in, didn't he? He came back in. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I do like the Jags here. The Titans have struggled to find it in the air, and they're going to have to eventually, especially when Derrick Henry's getting 30 yards a game. You can't operate that offense like that. So
is it time to start hitting Derrick Henry props this week? Is this our best buy low spot? We saw what the Lions running backs did to the Jaguars last week.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to look into it some more, but
I don't know how accurate this is, but on action already, the props are already out for that game. Derrick Henry rush yards 70.5.
See that seems extremely low. I don't know how good I understand the Lions have a great running back room, so I have to take that into consideration.
You know what? This is what you do, Dylan. You write a blog about this game and you give the people a pick on cartercast.com. How about that?
Exactly.
Make a note of it now.
All right, there we go. Does anybody else have anything on this game? Over, under, spread?
No.
Okay. All right. I lean the Jags because I'm an animal. I'm psychotic. Moving on, the Houston Texans at the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys minus 17, biggest spread of the year. Over. What's up?
No, you keep going. You keep going.
Over under 44.5 in this game. Real quick, I wanted to say this about Dallas. Yeah, they slaughtered the Colts last week. Whatever. I have this question to bring up about the Cowboys. Are they peaking at the wrong time?
It seems like that the Cowboys teams always do this too. It seems like they did this last year. Real quick, because I'm writing about this game for Action Network, I have one stat, and I don't care about the game other than that. Then I got to go pee real quick. So, 2+ touchdown favorites since 2013, 65.3% against the spread. That's all I got to say. I'm gonna go pee.
Wow.
Oh, there we go.
Pretty good stat. Yeah.
And the thing is, you can't tease the Cowboys here at all.
No,
you're not going to tease a
You're
team to 7. Like, if they're going to cover the 7, it feels like they're going to cover the 17. But I feel like they're peaking at the wrong time. Like, we've seen this happen before.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. I don't know if it's peaking at the wrong time. I mean, maybe they're finally just hitting their groove. I mean, Zeke and Tony Pollard have looked like a pretty formidable duo out of the backfield right now. I think the whole OBJ situation's blown out of proportion because, let's be honest, how much production are you really going to get out of Odell Beckham at this stage in his career? He's coming off that injury. He's not as explosive as he was. Like, and you even saw Jerry Jones today was like, we're worried about his physical condition. We're worried about the injury condition. I don't even know if that's a lock that they're going to sign him. He was at the Mavs game with Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons. I mean, the Cowboys team has a lot of talent. I think they have a great chance to make a run in the NFC, but you might be right about them picking at the wrong time. I could easily see them being let down and getting beat. Because as it stands right now, they would play the Bucs in Tampa Bay in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh,
I know the Bucs are
that's
garbage.
A dream matchup.
Bucs are garbage, but like Tom Brady at home, that's a little scary. That's a little
No,
scary.
not at
A
all.
little bit.
No, not at all.
Yes.
No. Micah
A little
Parsons
bit.
will destroy that offensive line. Brady
Dylan, I was
cannot
saying-
throw under pressure.
Dylan, I was saying right now the Cowboys would play in Tampa Bay first round of the playoffs.
Be some trouble. There'd be some trouble. I mean, did we watch the game yesterday? Tom Brady, I understand he's a Michigan guy, whatever. He's still got something in the tank because he's doing the same thing Tom Brady's done for the past 22 years.
But he ain't going to win the NFC South.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Bro.
But let's talk about this game. Does anybody have a pick minus 17 over under 44.5? I kind of lean over just because I feel like this game might just get blown wide open and Cowboys score 31 and then Kyle Allen gets 2 garbage touchdowns like Nico Collins or something.
Kind of like how it was against the Dolphins when they went up 30-0 and then the Texans scored like 3 straight times the second half. It kind of feels like that.
Yeah, but I don't have a play in this one. Does anybody else besides Dylan's article pick? That's all I'm doing in this one.
I'm tailing the article pick. That's it.
I would tease the article pick here. Don't even know what I'm going to do yet. So
all right, there we go.
We like the transparency here on the CarterCast, the honesty.
10 a.m. Sunday morning. You go find it. You scroll to the bottom. Hit the green check mark. If you don't hit the green check mark, we'll find you.
7 times for good luck.
7 times for good luck. I've done it every NFL Sunday, and I've been positive units every single Sunday that I've hit the green check mark 7 times. All right, Kansas City at Denver. Kansas City -9 over under 43. I don't like KC with these big spreads. Well, let's just start it there.
Divisional game too. I'll be honest, I don't have a side here, but you're exactly right. The Chiefs don't cover these more than touchdown spreads. Broncos defense pretty legit. If there's a team that could stop the Chiefs offense, it's probably this one at home in Mile High. A divisional home dog of more than a touchdown. That just seems odd to me. However, I don't have a play on the total. I don't have a play on the side. Keep a lookout for this. Whatever it comes out at, under field goals made for the game. Both of these teams, 31st and 29th in field goal make percentage, under 76%, each of them.
Wow.
I'm going to look up the weather in Denver, too. I feel like that might be a factor, too. It might be a snow weekend in Denver.
I can't find anything yet. That's probably not going to come out till Friday or Saturday, but keep an eye out for it. And, that could be a good one. It's usually 3.5 or 4.
Yeah. That's a pretty good play. I kind of lean under here. I'm not officially on it or anything, but Broncos offense sucks. I mean, they legitimately are horrible. Like, a few weeks ago, I was like, maybe they'll find their way eventually. Like, maybe they're going to hit their stride. No, eventually enough's enough. Like, we've seen enough sample size. Broncos offense can't be trusted. And if the Broncos offense puts up 10, 12 points, are the Chiefs going to score more than 30? I'm not convinced against the Denver defense. So I kind of lean under here.
Broncos unders. Go ahead, Carter. Sorry.
Well, Grant loves the Denver Broncos, loves Denver sports, loves the Denver.
I'm licking my chops, bro, to be able to bet the Denver side. No, hell no. I ain't touching Denver. It's been well for me ever since I've said I'm not touching them. I refuse. You could give me 40 points in this game. I still wouldn't play them, bro. I can't play them. I cannot do it. I can't do it. They're
Chiefs
the worst.
Have to be when we build my 10-point teaser, the Chiefs have to be in it.
All right. I'm about that life.
Chiefs money line. I mean, give me that. Anything else on this game?
Noted fact: Broncos unders 11-1 this season. So good news for you, Connor.
Wow.
Oh.
They refuse to score for some reason.
Oh baby. I've had to wait 2 weeks to watch my sweet Sam Darnold. The Carolina Panthers at the Seattle Seahawks. This line opened at 7, that went down to 6.5, all the way down to 3.5, back to 4. It's Seahawks -4, over under 43.5. You get the chance to bet the future NFC South champions, Carolina Panthers, at +4 against the Seattle Seahawks. And Dylan, I know you're like, what is he talking about? The Carolina Panthers, Carolina sucks, Carolina whatever. All right, let's talk here real quick. Sam Darnold's not bad. Let's start there. Sam Darnold's not bad. This Panthers O-line is an above average offensive line. I'm not saying they're top 5. I'm not saying they're top. I think they're arguably a top 10 offensive line.
Imagine saying that a couple years ago.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
That's why Scott Furter keeps his job. The Panthers went out. The division's in their hands. The division's in their hands, Dylan. I'm warning you. And then also, let's talk about this game real quick. The Seahawks have no pass rush. And we always talk about Sam Darnold sees ghosts. Sam Darnold under pressure is garbage. He's terrible. We all know that. And yes, he put up a good performance against the Broncos. The offensive line played out of their minds. He had plenty of time to throw. And we're going to see the same thing in this game. He's going to have plenty of time to throw. He's going to have open receivers. DJ Moore is going to be open in this game. I love DJ Moore props in this game. Yes, it's on the road. Yes, the Panthers have not won a single road game this year, but this is not the same Panthers team with Baker Mayfield or PJ Walker. This is a totally different Panthers team with it's still not even average quarterback. I'm not going to sit here. I'll be realistic. Sam Darnold's not that great, but he is twice as good as PJ Walker or Baker Mayfield. We have Steve Wilkes. Most of those road games were under Matt Rule. I love the Panthers +4 here. This defense is going to get to Geno Smith. No Kenneth Walker in this game as well. I love the Panthers. I love the Panthers.
In your mind, how many points is Darnold worth to the spread compared to Baker?
Oh, if it's Baker, I think this should be an 8-point spread.
That
oh
many?
My gosh.
That many?
Oh, the
Carter,
guys played one game.
Yes,
that's
how,
how-
I'm not saying that Darnold is that insane. I'm saying that Baker is that bad. I just think Baker. I think if it's PJ Walker, I think it's a 6-point spread.
I think if it's Baker, it's maybe 5.5, 6. I wouldn't go that.
Do you guys not remember how bad Baker was? He was throwing 56 yards like a game. He was awful. He was the worst quarterback in the NFL. He was Nathan Peterman bad.
I agree with the take that Darnold's that much better than him, but I don't think the line would jump that much with a Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold.
That's where I think the line should be. I think that Baker is that bad. You cannot win football games with Baker Mayfield. Guaranteed. That is a lock.
Carter, real quick, I got to interject. Is this the week for Tommy Tremble anytime touchdown?
Now you're speaking my language.
They're a little spicy in here.
Panthers +4. I already doubled down on the division. And the thing is, I don't think we actually win the division. If we're being realistic, I don't think we actually win. The Bucs are probably going to win. And when our dreams go to hope and die, whenever in Panthers history, is when we play the Pittsburgh Steelers in the regular season. We play the Steelers next week. That's when to bet against the Carolina Panthers. Because we said, hey, we like the Ravens money line, right, guys?
Yeah.
Say the Ravens win. Steelers coming off a bounce back
that
loss.
line.
Mike Tomlin coming off a loss against this Carolina Panthers team who's going to be riding high off of a win in Seattle. They're going to be confident. Steelers are going to come into Carolina and beat the Carolina Panthers next week. On the look ahead line, I would just take the Steelers money line.
Yeah. I mean, there's no arguing what you just said. I'm with you, bro. You convinced yourself. You convinced me. I probably will put a little money on the Panthers at this point.
And if I can get, I don't know what the stats are. I'll look it up. I kind of like Sam Darnold over rush yards in this game too.
I don't hate that. We just got to hope we get the Sam Darnold from the first 3 weeks of last season. And that's what we got to hope for. And honestly, I think this is one of those games where it's wow, Sam Darnold's not that bad. And then he goes out against the Steelers and lays an egg.
In Seattle, they looked so unconvincing against the terrible, terrible Los Angeles Rams. They come off kind of a lucky win, to be honest.
I will say, though, talking about Sam Darnold seeing ghosts, Seattle's a tough place to play, so that'll be interesting to see how he deals with that.
Panthers off a bye, too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I'm on the Panthers +7 on the early look ahead last week. That was a great call.
Beautiful.
Yep.
I will say real quick, you might be right on the whole EPA thing or how much points Sam Darnold's worth compared to Baker, because I have Baker at -4 EPA for the game when he's a passer.
God.
When he's a passer per game. So you might be right there. I have Sam Darnold in the one game he's played this year, 5.22 EPA. So you might be right there, Carter. I may have jumped the gun there.
He's that bad. Baker is awful. The career's over.
Yeah, it's time to start the acting career. The State Farm commercials, Progressive, whatever it is.
Aggressive, yeah.
Bath bomb guy.
But Dylan, just go ahead. You're on the Seahawks -4 in the under. Just say it.
No, I actually like the over here for a second. I'm not going to take anything. And again, I don't have the stats on hand, but when I was going through it, I did think this might be a good day for the over. But I'm going to stay away.
You know what? No, I'm going to dictatorship here. Executive order. Everyone's taking the Panthers for 1 unit.
I'm on him for 4, so
Yeah,
Let's rock.
well, you and I, we're going to be delusional and put absurd.
We'll go down with the ship. You don't got to convince
But
me.
Grant, Dylan, you gotta join. There's no.
I'll be on it. I'm with the boys.
Can I put in an appeal? Can I get Sam Darnold over passing yards?
No, you got to do
Oh
both.
my
It's
gosh.
Panthers +4.
Dylan, let us save you.
Because Dylan, I'm taking Sam Darnold over passing yards as well.
When there's no food at the wedding, it's your fault. Just remember that.
My parlay picks have been hitting, so
that's true. That's true.
hey, and you're putting food on the table at your wedding yourself. Your action picks are killing it. All right, let's move on. We talked way too much about the Carolina Panthers. This game is ugly. Before the season started, you would have thought this was one of the game of the years. Tampa Bay at San Francisco. San Francisco -3.5. Over under 37. Brock Purdy taking over for the injured Jimmy G. Tom Brady and whatever the Bucs are. I don't know how they won that game. I'll let you guys go ahead. I talked forever on the Carolina Panthers.
What's the deal here with Purdy? He did not look that bad when he came in. Now, granted, it was against a poor Dolphins defense. I have nothing. Part of me kind of wants to take the under because it's so low, but I probably won't get to it. I have nothing in the 4 o'clock. Well, now I have the Panthers +3.5, so I have something to watch during the 4 o'clock games. But yeah, nothing here.
I kind of like Tampa Bay in this one, boys. Give me 3.5 against San Fran with Brock Purdy. I honestly don't believe Brock Purdy is going to be good for them, to be honest. Like, I don't like how he plays. Like, we'll see. Like you said, he did not look terrible at the end of the game, but I'm not a Brock Purdy truther, so I'm gonna take the points with Brady all day.
I'm not currently on anything right now in this game. This is kind of a weird one for me. I did take Chris Godwin receptions in their last game against the Saints. That hit. If it's anywhere 5.5, 6.5, I think I'm taking that again just because this Niners defense is good. Brady's going to be under pressure. Quick check downs right across the middle, 5 yards. Even more than that, though, Rashad White receptions also I kind of like. Him and Fournette are in a timeshare, but this is probably like a prop game for me. I'm not going to take anything on the spread or anything.
I'm going to stay away from it as well. I can't lay points with Brock Purdy. Maybe I can. Maybe I could be talked into it. I just really, truly believe this Tampa Bay team is garbage. They're going to get blown out the first playoff game against Dallas. It's going to be Dallas versus Tampa Bay. It's going to be a blowout. A blowout. Todd Bowles is a terrible head coach. He's a coordinator.
That's fair. But I don't think Tom Brady's going to get blown out at home in the playoffs.
Yes.
They might lose. I don't know about that, but
I don't know. Like, I understand, like, yeah, you never bet against Brady. This is now when you bet against Brady. They're not good. Yeah, they'll probably make the playoffs.
Years.
What?
I've been hearing this is when you bet against Brady for years, though. Like, I literally have heard that for so many times. That's the problem.
Yeah, and this is the year where it ends. They're not good. They should have lost to the Saints.
Yes, they should have. You're right.
Like, I don't understand what people see in this Tampa Bay game other than they just say the words Tom Brady.
Oh, I'm not saying Brady over the Cowboys. I'm saying Brady in this game with points against Brock Purdy. That's the game I like. I'm not talking about that. I don't know about that.
But how, let's talk about the look ahead spot. Like, how does Tampa Bay keep up with the Dallas Cowboys when the Cowboys are going to blitz the crap out of that terrible offensive line of Tampa Bay? And when Brady doesn't have a good offensive line, he's a bad quarterback. It's just fact. When he gets pressured, he's not great.
That is fair. The Bucs offensive line is pretty horrible, but
Micah Parsons might have 4 sacks in that game. They're that bad.
Yeah,
I can't believe you're trusting the Cowboys in the playoffs. So that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like we had a conversation about 30 minutes ago about the Cowboys peaking too early. I can't remember who brought that up.
They can beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and then lose in the next round. The NFC is wide open. But I did have to bring that up because I thought it was an interesting point. You're right. But I'm never going to bet Todd Bowles in the playoffs. Never. Anyhow, moving on.
Tom Brady in the playoffs?
Todd Bowles is on that roster. Todd Bowles.
Okay. Right.
Todd Bowles is not a head coach.
That's fair.
All right. This is the game of the week. Sunday Night Football. Thank the NBC gods for flexing this. Miami at Los Angeles. Going to be so many Dolphins fans there. Miami -3, over under 52.5. Dylan, I think you have a bunch on this one, right?
I have a lot on. I did Dolphins at Pick'em on the look ahead, so my opinion doesn't matter too much right now. Both off. Honestly, I kind of lean over. Again, I don't have any stats on hand, but I mean, both of these teams can sling it, and you give Herbert the opportunity to throw it against an average to poor Dolphins defense. I don't hate that there. So I would say at 3, I honestly kind of lean Chargers, but over, I lean over as well.
I lean over as well. I think this is the big game where I feel like it's one of those where you could just blindly take any of the star players to score a touchdown, and they're scoring a touchdown.
That's probably true. That might be the one to parlay a little anytime touchdown, little Austin Eckler, Tyreek Hill,
Jeff Wilson Jr.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Against this terrible, like just take the starting running back, whoever. I know we always said it with the Texans early on. The Texans are the worst rush defense, but you can take any starting running back against the Chargers, and they're going to score a touchdown on them.
It's a must-win in fantasy for me this week. So Justin Herbert's got to come through. I'm loving this over talk. I'm loving this over talk. That's probably gonna be the play. I mean, just have some fun, root for some points. It's a nice Sunday night. Hopefully, you had a good day before that. Just be like, all right.
I feel like this is going to be one of those classic games too, where it is back and forth. Great game.
I could sneaky see that too. The Chargers have really, I don't know, they've been a little hot and cold this year, but I could see them showing up for this one.
Grant?
I'm with the over with the boys. That's honestly what I had pegged before we even talked about it too. So that's interesting. So we're all on the same over. Like, I think we all like that. I lean bounce back with the Dolphins, but I don't like that 3, bro. That field goes rough. So I think I'll just end up doing over. And like you said, just hope that it's a fun game.
All right. Sounds good. Last game, Monday night. I hate this game. New England at Arizona. Is this game in like somewhere different? In Arizona? Does anybody know?
It's in Arizona.
It's in Arizona. I didn't know if it was in like Brazil or something. New England at Arizona. New England -1.5. Over under 44.5. I don't like anything right now. Maybe Monday morning comes and I like something, but I'm gonna stay away. I hate this New England team and I hate the Cardinals.
A lot of these gross Monday night games for me, it's just like a day of kind of thing where it's like, all right, let's see how I did on Sunday, and then let's see how spicy I get on Monday. Like, do I hammer the FanDuel boost that never hits? Probably. Like, we'll see what happens.
Is this where we take an under?
I honestly don't hate that.
This would be the spot. I like the Patriots here. I think the Cardinals franchise, they're in such disarray right now. Kyler doesn't want to be coached under Cliff. I don't even know what Cliff's doing. It's a mess over there. And I'm always going to back that Patriots defense. Didn't look great on Thursday Night Football against the Bills, but they've had extra time to prepare. I like the Pats here -1.5. Also, don't hate the under. That will probably end up getting played by the time kickoff rolls around.
Yep. Same thing. I lean the Pats in this one. I don't think I'm going to take it, but that's what I lean right now is the -1.5. I don't know how you can put money on the Cardinals right now.
All right, there we go.
I also want to add real quick a celebratory thing. No more buys after this week. Buys are over.
Mm-hmm. We finally get a full 4 o'clock slate. Like, I mean, the London game's gone, which I kind of wish we kind of had right now when there's no buys. Like having that 9 a.m. kickoff or whatever time it is on the East Coast.
It kind of lines up perfectly too. College football's coming to an end, and now there's no more buys. So like this show won't be 2.5 hours. So nice.
Yeah, this one wasn't too long.
No.
So do we want to build a World Cup parlay real quick?
A World Cup parlay. Oh man.
I'm kidding.
No.
How about Pinaldo over under 10 minutes played the rest of the tournament?
Pinaldo.
They looked way better without him.
They did.
Let me get this pulled up real quick. Do we want to build the parlay real quick?
I think we have to.
Yeah.
It's time to overcome our demons. We've been going 3-1 in both college football and NFL a lot recently.
Argentina money line for me. Okay. No, let's do the NFL parlay. Let's do no Mondays, no Thursdays.
No Mondays, no Thursdays. I have one that we talked about that I really liked that I was on before the show, and then y'all reinforced me. Lions Vikings over 52.5. Let's get a fun one in there. Let's get a fun one in there. I love that.
Let me write this down.
That's gonna be my play.
Who else has got one?
Oh gosh. I want to do Jacksonville, but I can't do that in the parlay because I'm going to do
Jets +9.5.
Oh man!
The Jets.
I was going to do that. Oh,
Throw the Jets.
Oh my gosh!
Throw them in there.
F the effing Jets. F them.
Oh, goodness.
10 points of that defense, bro. I love it. I love it. Give it to me.
Man, killing me here.
Decisions here for Mr. Pac-12.
Yeah, no Utah to save you here, bro.
Yeah, let me get Cameron Rising over.
Oh man, I love that West Coast style offense. Let's do Bengals Browns under 47.5.
I like that.
Browns under.
Over, underdog.
So that means I have to pick a favorite if we want to hit all our bases.
I think I know what you're going with though.
What a favorite?
No, it's not a favorite.
Oh, you think I'm going the Panthers?
Yeah, your division winning Super Bowl champion Panthers.
I know. Grant got to put the Jets in there, so it makes me really, 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 really want to put the Panthers in there.
Look it up.
I'm double checking my lines. Hold up. The only reason I was gonna do Lions -2.5, if we're being honest, but I don't want to put 2 in the same game. Last time we did that, we got put into a pretzel where if the Jags scored a touchdown, the under lost, and if the Jags scored a touchdown, the Jags won, and then it was you couldn't win both. So I don't want to get stuck in that spot.
Fair.
I also was leaning Browns +6, but it has to be the Panthers +4. It has to be.
All right.
Has to be.
I love the Panthers
Has to be.
+4 so much. I love it so much. Panthers +4. Man, I really the Jets better not screw us this week, Grant. This is
make
they're
or
on
break.
probation right now. If they violate probation, they're getting thrown in 15 to life.
Wow.
Wow. Judge Carter making a reappearance on the show
The
today.
sad part is they actually should have not only covered last week, they should have won outright.
They should have won. They should have won at the end.
Should have won outright last week. They not only should have covered, they should have won the money line, which I also had a little bit of money on. So
Against the new nightmare?
sad day, huh?
Against the new nightmare?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I had a parlay. I had the money line, and then I had the Niners over or something like that. The one that hit, I forget which one it was, but the one that we liked last week, and it did not work out because they lost. So,
All right, that is the NFL parlay this week. It is Vikings Lions over 52.5, Jets +9.5 against the Buffalo Bills, Bengals Browns under 47.5, and your future NFC South champions, the Sam Darnold-led Panthers +4 against the Seattle Seahawks.
We are putting our faith in Sam Darnold to win us the parlay this week. Just let that sink in a little bit. And I don't know how to feel about it. Carter.
I feel great.
As Mr. Pac-12, I sign off on USC legend leading the parlay.
That's it. I actually really like this parlay. The Jets, man, I just can't get past the stupid Jets. How much they've burned and won us money, like so
but
much.
it's so much money. What are you talking about, bro? For sure.
It's like it's just so drastic each way. Like they've either just boned us so hard, or they've just been beautiful.
I have a quick shout out before the show ends. Taysom Hill anytime touchdown. He's back. We're back. Let's go Taysom Hill.
It's like a 30-yard reception, right? It was like a 30-yard touchdown catch.
It was like 20 something. Yeah, upper 20s. It was long.
All right, we're gonna end it there, right there.
Oh man,
I'm gonna post an anytime touchdown parlay on Twitter. Follow me at CarterB8. But that'll do it from us. Thank you guys. Thank you for listening to the show. We really appreciate it. Happy holidays to you. We'll be back next week. Bo Essie should be coming on the basketball pod with Connor and I next week, and we'll do our college football bet show. We'll run. NFL will be a little bit quicker next week. We're not going to do it since we're doing the bet show. It'll be we'll try and run through the lines a lot quicker, even though there's no bye weeks. Make sure to follow all social media. Make sure check out Dylan's action article 10 a.m. Sunday morning at Wilkerson A. Dylan at Connor_Sparrow. Grant, I don't even know what yours is. It's like at the real Grant FA1, something like that. Just look it up. You'll find it on Twitter. You see one of us, you'll find the other. It's all right. That was right.
It's at the road, just at the road Grant Farley.
Oh, you changed it.
No, that's always all it's been.
No, don't you dare lie to me. I've had to put it in the episode by. I've had to put it in the anyhow. We're done with that. Make sure to check out CarterCast.com. Pics, clips, blogs, you name it. It's on there. TikTok, everything. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see y'all next time.